Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we will be talking how to work with such images, finding buttons and understanding coordinates. When you just open the file Hero UI ini, which is one of the files where images are translated into data, on the top of this file we can read a warning: do not edit by hand, ImagePacker auto-generated ini file. That sounds like it's impossible or taboo to edit portraits manually, but it's actually not correct. ImagePacker is an ancient program and not many people nowadays have it, so you even can find it in the deep ocean of internet. I used it only once to create these buttons, but as for me it's more convenient to create buttons manually, because to compile an image in ImagePacker you have to prepare all buttons. Then ImagePacker compiles the images into one image and gives the file with coordinates of the buttons, where is written the names of our buttons. First number is the coordinate for left, second is for top, third for right, and fourth for bottom coordinate. The names of the buttons are in the alphabetical order. But as for me, it's more convenient to add buttons in the process of creating powers to see whether it matches our purposes. And stick to certain conditions will limit our capabilities. Also, it doesn't compile with alpha channel, at least in my version it doesn't export with it, and it will be necessary to add the channel in the Photoshop. Here in the file we have next lines: mapped image, the name you can add to define the image; texture, name of the texture where the images of buttons are located. Despite the fact that most images you see are converted into DDC format, when you add the name of a texture, use Targa format or other format that was used to create the asset dot. This is the resolution of the image, and here we can see the mysterious number, the secret code. That is actually the position of a single image for a button among other images. Status none, always none. When we are looking at this image, it seems to be impossible to find the coordinates for Incarnate image, for example, but it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. When we just look at this image, we already gotten a lot of information. This image resolution is 512 and 512, so everything in the left corner is 0, at the top corner is 0, at the right is 512, and at the bottom corner is 512. Speaking on the language of coordinates, left 0, top 0, right 512, bottom 512. Every button for special power or a button image always has resolution 64 for 64. So every button at the left corner we can translate like 0, and every button at the top corner like top 0. Because its resolution is 64 for 64, then to get coordinate for right we need to add to left coordinate 64. And to get coordinate for bottom, we need to add to top 64. So coordinates of armor are left 0, top 0, right 64, bottom 64. So every image at this row, let's mark it 1, has to be translated as left 64. And everything at this row has coordinate top 64. As you might notice, the end of one image, right and bottom coordinates, are the beginning for left and top coordinates of the next image. So every left side after the first row always equals the previous right side, and every top after first top row equals bottom. 64 plus 64 gives 128, so every image at the second rows are 128 for left and 128 for top. At third row 192, at fourth is 256, at fifth row is 320, at sixth is 384, at seventh row left and top will be 448. So now your ring is located on the third row, so 3 times 64 gives 192, so left is 192, top is 192. Right is the sum of the left, which is 192 plus resolution, which is 64, so that is 256. And bottom is top coordinate plus 64, and it gives us 256. Splash of water is located at the first vertical row, so left is 64, and at the fifth horizontal row, so top is 320, from this right is 128, and bottom is 384. You can also calculate backwards. Splash of water is located at the second line from bottom, so bottom is 512 minus 2 times 64, which is 128, so bottom is 384, and to get top, just subtract 64 from bottom coordinate. Usually I am naming images like it's marked by Instagram, for example. This picture is named UI Dark Horses Moon, so when I search, I simply add word horse, and then we'll look at the name that describes it better. I'm trying to avoid metaphorical namings like Last Hope or something like that. Nobody gonna check you if you name an image for potion like Boar of War. And now, please check your deep knowledge and wisdom of universe and find the coordinates of this image of the One Ring and write it in the comments. Now let's overview example with a portrait. Portrait together with buttons is actually one of the best options for creating pictures, because it's really easy to locate and define an image. Also, it gives the opportunity to match color of buttons with color palette of a portrait. That is super important. Every image used for a portrait always has resolution 192 by 192, so the portrait of Frodo has coordinates left is 0, top is 0, right is 192, bottom is 192, and everything on this line will be 192, and everything on this line will be 192. Having these coordinates, we can find the name for a portrait of Frodo, HP Frodo, that is written in the field Select Portrait. Now let's find the coordinates of an image that is used for the ability Elven Cloak. It starts where Frodo's portrait ends, so left is 192. If the size of a button image is 64, then 192 plus 64 gives 256, so right is 256. Top is 0. If the size of a button image is 64, then 0 plus 64 gives 64, so bottom is 64. Please locate and write in the comments the coordinates of the Frodo sting on this image to test yourself. And to memorize our lesson, let's find the portrait of Gandalf on this image. It's located at the first vertical row, so left is 192, and second horizontal row, so top is 384. From this data we can get right that will be 384, and bottom that will be 576. Let's check it. Well, actually, to find an image, it's enough to search only with two coordinates. And for the final, let's find the image of Aragorn with Army of the Dead. It's located at the second row from Gandalf, so 384 plus 64. Left is 448, so right is 512. Top we will find just by subtracting from bottom of a Gandalf's portrait, because these images are located at the same line. So 576 minus 64 is 512, so left is 448, top is 512, right is 512, bottom is 576. And these coordinates lead us to the image HI Gondor Elsa Oz. Very metaphorical name, I would name it like H.I. Aragorn Face Green. If you are the true heir of Gondor, please find on this picture a portrait of Boromir the Finest and picture of him being happy with the Loud One, and write it in the comments. Thank you for watching, write your questions if you have one, and happy modding! Now ready you are to create. Calm my spirit is like a lake under ice.